Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Faith, day 29. We are near the end of the month, and it's crazy to think about the fact that this year's coming to a close. Christmas has kind of come and gone. Hopefully you had a great Christmas with your family, with loved ones, with friends. And that really, beyond the gifts and kind of the fun aspects of it, that you really get to enjoy the Christmas spirit of who Jesus is, the coming of the Messiah, God's desire to connect with us in a relational way. And I hope and pray that you are really able to experience all of that this season. And then as we move into the new year, in here in just a matter of days, that you would experience the fullness of the blessing that God wants to bring your way, and that you would stay committed to the journey that He has you on and the calling that He's placed on your life. And so I want to share this devotional today with you guys. It's from Psalm 22, verse 30. And the psalmist writes, "Our children will also serve Him. Future generations will hear about the wonders of the Lord." As adults, it is our responsibility, yours and mine, to lead the way for our children and our children's children to stand in awe and wonder of God. The faith we live with today can blaze the trail for our children to follow tomorrow. I love that line, the way that's worded. The faith we live with today can blaze the trail for our children to follow tomorrow. All throughout the scriptures, we see God affirming the family structure and its significance in teaching and showing the next generation who God is and what He's done. Christian pastor and author Francis Chan recently said, "We are turning away our children by the droves because our lives are not the adventure they see in Scripture." Before I kind of move on, I mean, that's like really, really strong. It's easy to miss and kind of ignore, but I'm going to read it again because it's really, really thought-provoking and even convicting for me as a dad. It says, "We are turning away our children by the droves because our lives are not the adventure they see in Scripture." In a lot of ways, this is very accurate. But this pattern doesn't start or stop with adventure, it starts with wonder. No one ever sets off on an adventure if they've not first started to wonder. So as you continue in your journey with Jesus, continue to wonder and dream of what could be. Continue to explore the depths of God's character and His heart. Remain faithful in your pursuit of who God is, and you will find yourself not just wondering, but adventuring and setting an example for generations to come. Man, this is such a, like I said, I already used this word, but really a convicting devotion. Because as a daddy, my daughter is 7, she'll turn 8 in 2019. And more than anything, I'm a pastor, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a friend, all these things. Feel like I'm kind of singing an Alanis Morissette song, but I'm all these things, but above anything, I'm a follower of Jesus. And I love Jesus with my whole heart, and more than anything, I want to pursue Jesus with all that I am. That's all I desire in my life. And as a dad, I want my daughter to see that we are committed to God, that we are committed to His ways, that we are committed to stepping out in faith and experiencing what God has done. And to be fair, in our lives, God has done some tremendous things. God has blessed us beyond measure as a family. God has redeemed what's been broken. God has taken a marriage, mine and my wife's, that was on the brink of divorce 4 or 5 years ago and restored it to where it is today, where she's my best friend, my companion. And I can't imagine my life without her. And my daughter had a front row seat. She was young then, but she's able to see the fruit of it now. And so we work hard at being honest and authentic with her, but we also work hard at making sure she understands that our lives are kind of orbiting around this thing that God has for us, and we're pursuing that with all that we have in our lives. And we want her to do the same. And we want her to be aware of not just the risk or the faith steps that we take, but then also the blessings that God provides. And so, I don't know, I thought maybe with this video, it would be cool if we kind of talked about that as a community. I know there's a ton of moms especially, but so many of us are parents. And one of the struggles as a parent, and I'm sure I'll experience this as well as my daughter gets older, is the burden that you carry to having your children follow Jesus and continue in the ways of God into their teenage years and then ultimately into their adult years. And so I'd love to hear from you guys on this. What are some of the things that maybe your parents did really well at helping you experience and see the wonder and the adventure of who God is? What do they tell you about? What are the stories they talked about? What are some of the things that you do with your children? What are some of the things that you do with your own kids to kind of give them insight and a picture into who God is and what He's doing, the faith that He's building, the faith that He's stirring in your lives? I know for us, for Chris and I, some of the things that we do are really simple, but I think they're really meaningful. For instance, when we're up against a huge wall, we let our daughter know that. Now, we don't do it irresponsibly. It's not like we're burdening her like, oh, don't worry, Gia, or be careful, we're not gonna know how we're gonna provide for our food or something like that. It's not that. But if we, have to make a major move, which we've had in the past, we've let her know that, listen, this move is something God is calling us to, but it has to be God that provides for it. It has to be God that opens the doors. It has to be God that kind of works, because we don't know how it's gonna happen apart from God. And then when God works, we celebrate it and we say, yeah, look at what God did. He answered in this way. He provided this. He brought this into our lives. And so she can see it and she can take note of that. There have been times where I've had the privilege to travel and preach or speak somewhere, and or maybe get to do a really unique ministry experience or opportunity. And so we've done it together as a family rather than just me go and do that one thing. I try to bring the girls with me. I bring Gia, I bring Krista with me, because I want them to experience it. I want them to see what God is doing and how God uses those opportunities. One of those opportunities was about 2 years ago in 2016, where we had the privilege to spend 5 weeks as a family living abroad in Europe, serving the church and working with different ministries over there, and learning and growing and encouraging one another. And it was completely paid for. I mean, airfare, the expenses while we were there, everything was paid for 5 weeks in Netherlands, Belgium, the UK, France. I mean, it was ridiculous, but it was a total God thing. And we were just faithful and obedient to the journey that God had us on up to that point. And so we told our daughter, look, this is what we get to do, but this is what God is providing for us. You see, this is how God is responding to our prayers. This is how God is responding to our faith. And so it's kind of been both of those, right? It's not just celebrating the good things, but it's also letting her into the challenges and the obstacles that we face or that we experience, so that she can see and understand that nothing is too big for her God. And so, yeah, I want to pitch this back to you because I want to hear from you. I'm sure there's some great parenting wisdom and counsel from you guys. So drop a comment in our Facebook, in our Faith Box Facebook group, and maybe I'll kind of start a thread today. But would love for you guys to kind of share your thoughts, share your ideas, and that way we can kind of encourage one another and continue building faith and wonder in the generations to come. See you guys in a couple days.